On today's Infinite Galaxy video, we've had our first Nebula versus Nebula in Nebula 14. And this video is kind of an overview of my experience, my first impressions of the event. We're going to go through a series telling you what we've learned that we did good, what we learned that we did bad, and everything about this event. And finally, is this the salvation Infinite Galaxy has been waiting for? So sit back, slap a like on the video, and let's go. Hey there, YouTube, Galactic Gecko back at you from space, and we've been delaying a little bit the videos as I've known we are gonna get Nebula versus Nebula, and I really wanted to have the Nebula versus Nebula event done and then come up with essentially all the content you need to know about this event, my thoughts and everything along the way. But this video is not about that. This video is a general first impressions of doing the event for the first time. And so here's the thing. I did not look at any videos of any past experiences. I knew nothing going into the event, and that was sort of on purpose to kind of try to see how easy it is to figure it out once you hit the ground running type of thing. And as you can see in the background footage from the event, the way the event works is fairly simple. You have the main building, the side buildings, and then one more building, which if you own, you get points per minute. There are 3 total slots worth of wartime, an hour each. And essentially, the team that accumulates the most points within the three fights during the day will be crowned the Nebula versus Nebula champions for that specific event. Now, you can only participate in 2 of the 3 wars, but that doesn't mean your Nebula cannot participate in all 3, which means you want to make sure you divide your team up according to the 3 different times, the different time zones. That way, you have at least some sort of a presence in the event. Now, off the rip, we've noticed a few very weird things. The flight speed is extremely slow. Teleporting, you get 1 teleport for free, and then it's 2,000 corium per for those hyper teleports. And the game itself is very chaotic. Now, this kind of game mode for Nebula versus Nebula type of thing exists in other games. In Lords Mobile, the Baron event and the Emperor event are kind of the same thing, where essentially it's like everybody dukes each other out on the one building, trying to get as much time in it as possible. And the difference here is that it was very chaotic. I can definitely say that the number one way, the one word that will describe Nebula versus Nebula right now is chaotic. It requires a lot of people, as many as you can fit in every single time. It requires a good strategy, both for teleporting into right positions, as well as understanding which players are going to show up and therefore dividing them into the correct places so that you can multitask, because you can't just focus all your forces in one place and that's that. And it was, again, extremely, extremely chaotic. My first impression of the event is that it has huge potential. There were a lot of fights. There was a lot of fun. We took a few buildings. We lost a few buildings. I got zeroed and everything along the way. Luckily, you don't lose fleets. They just go to this repair shop until the event ends, and then they all come back, kind of like in Warpath. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of cons in the event that need to be worked out. And truthfully, I did not expect it to be the perfect event off the rip. In the next video, or in the next couple of videos, we'll also have a what needs to change to make this event better, in my opinion, and what are the cons and pros of the event. But overall, again, the number one thing that everybody said was this was very chaotic. Now, just to give you a little bit of an explanation as to what is something that we did wrong, for example, and we'll go into much more depth in a video where we explain strategies and stuff like that. We thought, let's all teleport into one space between 2 different buildings, and then we can go back and forth between the 2 buildings and keep occupying them and retaking them as we need. And then we found out that the flight time is so long between everything that you get caught in the middle of flying somewhere most of the time. It is extremely hard to coordinate everybody to hit a same attack in the same place, and it's too telegraphed. Essentially, if you want to mount a big group to attack together a building, by the time everybody's set up and ready to rock and roll for you to shoot your shot and try to take the building, there is so many red flags for anyone around to be like, yo, they're gathering here, they're gathering there. And it's also extremely easy to get sniped along the way. So to wrap this up, my first impressions of Nebula versus Nebula is that it has huge potential. It can be what Infinite Galaxy needed to kind of spice the game up a little bit. But unfortunately, it has some major drawbacks that would require a lot of redesign of the event. And I really don't know whether that's something Infinite Galaxy has time for. So I enjoyed the event very much. I participated in one of the 2 battles as I couldn't show up on Saturday to play 2 battles. But in the one that I did, it was very fun. It was very interesting and I learned a ton. I'm going to show you a bunch of footage from the event in the coming videos, as well as cons and pros, tips and tricks that we learned. What are the worst things about this event? What are the best things about this event? And whether or not this is the salvation of Infinite Galaxy. By the end of this series of 4 videos, you'll have all the answers for that. For now, don't forget to drop a like on the video, hit that subscribe down below. I'm gonna head back to space and I'll see you in the next video where we go over the cons and pros of this event. So yeah, see ya. Peace.